Hello and welcome to Perspectives. My name is David Schoneman. I'm glad you're here. Today is February 18th, 2025. Hope you're staying warm. We've had quite a lot of snow here in Nashua in the last few days. But it's also a lot going on, not just weather-wise, but a lot going on in Washington. And we've been here on the show the last few weeks talking about what's been happening with the new Trump administration and this historic election and all the things that he's doing so far. Well, we're going to pick up that line of conversation again today because it's been about a month since inauguration and things continue to happen fast and furious. I'm here in the studio with Dave Narkunas and Greg Faith once again, and we're going to be talking about some of the developments that we've had since we were last here in the studio. Guys, thanks for coming in.
Good to be back.
Always a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, yeah.
And there's always so much to talk about.
They're never going to have anything to talk about, that's for sure. The government's going.
That's for sure. There's a lot happening. I want to lead off today with, we've talked a lot in the past about what's been going on.
Yes, sir.
But we haven't really talked yet about the reaction that we're seeing. And, you know, we're seeing a lot of reaction. We're seeing reaction out of Europe. We're seeing reaction out of the Democrat Party. And let's just touch on that for a moment. We see what the Democrats are doing, scrambling to try to make sense and to be prepared. And I don't think that we've seen the pace in the first month of a presidency that we've seen this time. It's certainly even much faster than the first time.
No one would have imagined that he would have been speeding up and just accelerating with
like
this level. A juggernaut.
Yes.
The Energizer Bunny. The Energizer Bunny.
Yes.
And people are literally saying, does he sleep even 3 hours a day?
Okay.
Like,
You know,
no one knows how much he actually sleeps.
Biden lit at 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, this guy,
No.
where's
He's
Biden
the-
up to?
this guy,
What?
he's exemplified. He's the anti-Biden.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the complete opposite.
That's probably what's making everybody angry.
The anti-Biden.
We had this, we got this, now we got daily news. The guy may walk in and go, all right, everybody, was there?
You never know.
No,
I
he's
assume there's going to be a
unpredictable.
press conference every day, like
You're
every
right,
single
pretty
day.
much. I get up in the morning and
look
I
forward
check the
to 'em.
news, I see what's going on because something undoubtedly happened
look
overnight.
forward to 'em.
But let's talk for a moment about some of the Democrats' responses. I mean, they are going
Meltdown.
out of their mind.
Nuclear
Little
meltdown.
heads
I'm not a big
exploding
fan of James
everywhere.
Carville,
No, that guy.
but
He happens to be
interesting.
correct.
he happens to be correct to listen to him. He said that Democrats, his party, is just blown away by the speed. They cannot keep up with the pace. And I think
they're
whether
used
I
to
like
this.
the guy or not, I think his observation is true. Democrats are not prepared for this pace. Frankly, no one in Washington is prepared to work like this guy works. I think going to Washington is considered, hey, this is a pretty easy job. Let's just take our time, relax, take a long nap. But with the Trump administration, it's not that way at all.
No.
And I think that these elected officials who aren't used to moving very quickly are finding themselves having to move very quickly, and they're not able to stay ahead because every time you turn around, he's doing something new.
I think Carville is genuine. I think he actually really is sincere when he says, and the guy swears like a sailor. he's got to be like 80 years old.
Yeah,
I don't know how old
he's
he
up there.
maybe
Wearing
he's
his skinny
around
jeans and swearing
But
like a sailor.
he's genuine.
Yeah.
And I think he's right.
Yeah, I
And
think
he's
so
just
too.
telling the Democrats, this is what you need a leader. You need to develop a leader. You need to have a focus.
No, we want him to be. I want chaos. I don't want them to organize because I
Well,
want to
they're
get
not
through-
able to. I don't think we have to worry about it. Not for right now, anyway. They're not able to organize.
Election
now, I don't
time
want
is
to
quicker than you think.
ignore and take it for granted.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But they have shown that they don't have the ability to bring a leader to the forefront. Really, any leader that they've had was supposed to have been a follower. So Biden didn't lead.
Nope.
He just conformed.
Yep.
And so they promoted people who are conformists. And so they don't have anyone who can step up and lead. They just don't have it. They haven't cultivated that as part of the Democrat culture.
When you get caught up into that extreme left, you're so far left that there's no going back except over the cliff. There's nobody there to go, let's raise.
this is the whole
Kennedy
thing.
was the guy that was supposed to be the one that drew him back.
Yes.
And they threw him to the wolves, and he went, that's okay, I'll join you at the
His whole
side.
family,
Now
threw him out to
HHS.
the
Yes,
wolves.
they did.
But this is the thing. The only person I can see is Fetterman.
Well,
Fetterman,
yeah,
Fetterman,
he's got potential.
he's not a Democrat.
He's
though.
got
The
potential.
way I look at him, he's not a Democrat.
independent.
Yeah, I don't know that he has.
He's maybe independent. Greg's
purple
right.
guy, the purple
maybe
guy.
independent. But
Yeah, I think that I like some of the things he said too.
Yes.
He's
He's
letting
woken
the
up.
Democrats know that, hey, listen, we gotta change
Yeah.
course here. I don't know that he has
He's woken.
the character or maybe not character, but the charisma to be.
Well,
to,
you see,
to
he
lead.
needs to understand that there's a hierarchy. You can't come in here wearing gym shorts.
No, you
but
can't.
there's the etiquette. There's this how
He's
we're
got to
supposed
present himself a
There's a
little more
decorum.
presentable.
Decorum. That's the word I kept struggling with. Decorum. You look like some punk off the street who was through a fluke election, but
Right.
you've got the right ideas, son. Just
Yeah.
dress the part.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I remember a substitute teacher doing a course on presentation. And the message there was, the media is the message.
That's
I remember
correct.
hearing that as a high school kid. The media is the message. And Fetterman's media is too much a part of his message. And so I think he's losing some traction because of,
Did very well.
He's not conveying himself as a
Very
professional
much.
that he certainly seems to be capable of.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
Even though he had
Something
a
happened
stroke,
when he had
came
that
out of
stroke.
that stroke.
When he had that stroke,
He's
Yeah.
come out of it.
even what's his face?
I know.
Hurt said, "I wish that more Democrats would have strokes if they turned out like this guy."
Well,
Because
Nancy
he
could have
seems
one now, and I
very
wouldn't be
rational.
embarrassed at all.
Because he seems so
Shit.
rational.
Yeah.
Like night and day compared to before.
Yeah.
He's on some
And
good meds.
yeah, Charlie Hurt. Charlie Hurt.
He's on good meds.
He's
He's focused. It just needs to be another election. He'll probably be more seasoned. Not like AOC, who stands there and has a meltdown in public, and you're like,
Oh yeah,
How
and
are you even
Maxine
being a-
Waters,
Oh,
these
Maxine,
people,
she's
and
good.
Schumer and
You know,
Schiff and
they're-
all the rest of these people. They're at the high levels in the party, but they're just clowns, and they're.
That's
the worst
the
part
best
is
word you
people
can describe.
listen to them. People pay
Well,
attention
I think
to 'em.
far fewer do than used to.
But they're the extremists. Who knows what's in the mind of somebody who's been breathing this in, this TDS they've got, and now
No, it's EDS.
it's
Elon.
well, that's
Elon syndrome.
he's now lifting that carpet, and look at all that dirt I'm finding.
Yeah.
Look at all you people. This is an embarrassment. We knew
It's
it was
an
going on for
embarrassment, yeah.
decades.
Yeah,
But
it's
now
been going on.
huge
We've known it's
talking
going on.
Point. That's a huge talking point. Like, this is a thing that if we transition to
Sure.
the next thing,
Doge.
it's Doge. People are not staying. Look at what we've uncovered. They're not talking about what has been discovered. We're talking about the process.
Yes.
You are
Yeah, yeah.
unconstitutional. It's this.
That's
it's
interesting.
that.
Yeah, no one's
They're
defending the
attacking
expenses.
The method instead of what has been
It's a
actually
constitutional
discovered.
crisis.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that, I mean, before we lose.
No, it's fine.
What are we at, 17?
We're good.
Yeah. So people need to focus on, we are uncovering so much profound fraud and
Yeah.
abuse that it's
Waste.
crazy.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And waste. It's
Yeah, how
unbelievable.
much?
And they're not upset about that. They're upset about Elon Musk.
Yeah, I saw one.
Well, they're
one-
distracting. It's like this over here. That over
The
there.
puppet? Yeah, the puppet over here.
I saw this one guy, I forgot his name, he was part of the Obama camp. He said about Elon Musk finding all these things and cutting government waste. He said, during the Obama years, we wanted to do that too, but we didn't know it could be done. And
Never tried.
Yeah.
Well, they never tried because she says, we're trying to find efficiencies. You can't find efficiencies
Until you look for the other lane.
until you start cutting back the numbers of people.
Then
that
you
are
start
involved. That's
seeing.
where the efficiencies come. You've got too many people doing too small a job, and that's where the inefficiencies lie. Really, they're not overworked; they're underworked.
Give you an example.
And he's getting rid of those folks. And I know that these people need to put food on the table, all that sort of stuff. But the government, the taxpayers, we don't need to spend that. We shouldn't be spending that money that way. The person that's paying the tax needs to put food on the table too. So I understand the sympathies towards employees, but we got to get rid of them. And that's what Obama was unable to do. He wasn't able to cut staff. He wanted to find efficiencies without cutting staff, and it's
can't
not
do
going to
that.
happen.
You can't do that.
It's not going to happen. So it's interesting that they say they wish they had done it or wanted to do it, but didn't know they were able to. Well, that's because
I think they knew that the end result would be you'd be somehow harming yourself
Yeah.
with these people.
Right,
Oh,
because
I
you
don't
need
really
their
want. I
votes.
don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want Red and Fox and this guy to be. I don't want to cut them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of
and
like
Trump's not worried about
That's what it was.
Yeah,
And
Trump's
he's
not
like,
worried about it.
But here's the question for you. Do you think if we have shutdowns like in the Clinton or the Obama administrations, you had people that were shut down, sent home on furloughs, when everybody's going, when I worked for NASA, we're like, we don't need the government guys here. We're getting more done now than we had with the meddling that they had. Here you had 80,000 government employees who didn't need to come back.
Yeah.
Well, now we've got this case where 88,000 IRS agents are being sent to the border with those guns to take care of the situation that Biden created. Now they're like, what do we do now? Well, you go down to Mexico and you protect Americans from being fentanyl overdosed and shot at by illegals and kidnapped and whatnot. Do your job or quit. Now you have a choice. But the buyout, we're giving you a full year's pay. We're giving you good recommendations. Have a nice life.
Yeah, I think
Because
that's
the
fine.
civilian world's going to do that. You know by
I know
example.
Bruce. I know Bruce. I have a friend of mine. He took it.
Yeah, I know
took it.
people. I'm getting
yeah,
letters,
yeah.
emails. Hey, I'm taking this early
I
retirement.
think it's perfectly fine, and we are going to save in the long run. I was talking to my mom the other day. She says, "Well, we're paying these people for all that time. So what? If we don't get rid of them, if we don't give them that furlough time and say this is your time, you get this pay, we're going to
Stumps on a
still have the
log.
problem in 9 months, a year from now, still the same problem. So you pay them now, or pay them out for that period of time. Then when that day comes, the bills go down.
And you won't miss any brain drain because there wasn't any.
That's right. We're not missing anything. I don't think we're going to find that these jobs, these
We're
essential
critical.
jobs, aren't getting done. They're getting done, or they're not essential. Now I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Doge and the $55 billion. I saw that in the news today
Oh,
before we
what they
came in.
uncovered.
They're keeping track of how big that number is. It's a lot of money. $55 billion
It's a lot.
of
If I
money.
was to find that on the street, I'd be pretty happy.
I'd be happy.
However,
If I could
compared
get
to
back
a
in the
trillion,
kitty.
compared to a trillion.
But can you put it back in the kitty?
Can I
recover?
I don't think people understand because we use the words million, billion, trillion, and they all rhyme. We think it's, one's bigger than the other, but you don't understand the magnitude. My brother uses an example. If someone were to put $1 on a table every second, $1, how long would it take you to get to $1 million? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 11 days.
40.
11
It's
days?
11
days to get to $1 million. To get to $1 billion,
Well, 111
33
days.
years.
33, okay.
To get to $1 trillion, 33,000 years.
36,
That's the difference between $1 billion and $1 trillion. 33 years versus 33,000 years.
But
That's a dollar a day, $1 a second, on the table. That's a lot of money. So when we say 55 billion, that's a lot of money. But we're a long, long way
Way off from a trillion.
from $1 trillion.
we're 37 trillion in debt.
So I hope, I know, we're 37 trillion in debt. So
And
I
counting.
hope that they're able to start finding bigger things to really leverage. I saw that education department, there have been some cuts made there. Maybe the education department has pulled back some funding. That needs to go. But how much does the education department cost in a year?
USAID?
I'm not sure. Or USAID, how much does it cost a year? Not $1 trillion, I don't think.
But all those little things
No,
add up.
it's many,
It's
many
that-
billions, though.
that base
It's
pyramid.
many
It's
billions.
hundreds of billions. I'm pretty sure
We'll
it's
take
hundreds
it.
of billions.
We'll take the hundreds of billions.
But
But to get to $1 trillion, we got to take it all.
we're 40th. You heard, I'm sure you've heard it like 1,000 times. We are last. We're 40th out of 40 of industrialized countries in terms of intelligence of our students.
In terms of
Education, yeah.
But we're first.
Yes.
Money spent per pupil. We are the
know.
most.
They can't
we
even
spend
read.
more money on our kids,
Eighth
and they're
grade
the
level.
dumbest idiots on the planet.
Well, I
What's
think
going on?
that's public education versus private education too. Now here in Nashville, I was on the board of aldermen, and I can tell you that the amount of money that is spent per pupil in public education compared to charter schools or private schools, it's a huge difference. And
Well, there's
of course, the Nashua public schools are poor performing,
That's
and the
correct.
Nashua charter schools are among the best in the country at a fraction of the
correct.
cost. So
That makes you want to wonder.
yeah, I saw a political cartoon that showed teachers union, teachers union on the apron. We want a raise, and meanwhile, Uncle Sam was looking at our performance. Yeah, you want more money. You always want more money. You always want more money, and look at the performance. But I've come to the conclusion, too, that from my time on the Board of Aldermen, that if you are in a non-competitive situation, and face it, teachers' unions, public schools, they're in a non-competitive situation.
Correct.
If you want more money, and everyone wants more money, if you want more money in the private sector, you go out and you work harder.
Perform.
You perform. You get more sales, you get more whatever, you earn more money out of the market. You do better, you get more.
Exactly.
In the government sector, you do worse,
Status quo.
you get more. Because they come every year to the budget meetings in the city of Nashua and they're going to say, you know, we missed the mark. Sorry, we missed the mark. We know we got these problems. If you just give us more money.
It's always a little
It's not going to work, though.
It's not going to work. It never does.
But if
But it's
you
a
keep
voting
giving them
bloc
money, though.
that supports those aldermen who are
That's
getting the benefit.
the only go-to
And
they have.
I know.
Nose is now going like this.
Well, I hope that they do. They're looking under the carpet,
They're
and they
doing
should
it.
expose all that stuff because that's what
Nobody's
happens. So we've got
untouched.
the most advanced country in the world, the most spent per pupil, and the poorest performance.
You know?
And one of the poorest performance in the world.
What boggles the mind is 30 years ago, you're like, what happened? Well, don't keep score.
No.
Don't hurt their feelings.
Everyone gets
blah,
a trophy.
blah, blah, blah.
As
Everybody
soon
gets a
as
trophy.
everyone got a trophy, that's when this
My
whole
child
went
is sitting
down
in
the
a classroom
toilet.
with autism, and everybody's speaking a foreign language. Going, wait a minute, what is he in here for? He don't know. He only knows English. Why is he? We have no place for him because he's recently been diagnosed with this. Wait a minute, he needs to go to. We don't have that established.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm taking my kid out of your school, and I'm going to start teaching myself and have a nice life.
Well, I think that COVID too brought a lot
Oh,
light
yeah. Oh,
to
COVID's killer.
education across
People are
across the
behind
country.
2 years now.
And
They
you know,
lost.
we're homeschooling our son, and he's ahead.
Good.
Your kid is genius.
Yeah, I'll watch
he's a
him.
smart boy.
He's got
Isaac
his,
is
he's got his
sharp
proverbial
as a
together.
tack.
He is.
He can come on this show anytime.
I've had him on here a couple times. We've done
Yes,
that.
sir.
We've talked about trains and whatnot. He knows his
Yeah,
trains. He knows
his
his states. He knows all the capitals around the
Good for
world.
him.
He knows
Every single country.
every single country.
Every single country in the world.
And he can tell him, ask him to draw a flag of Ethiopia, and he'll sit down there and he'll draw you a flag of Ethiopia. Here you go. He's
you
got
go.
it. He knows it. He
Good
knows the
kid.
colors. He knows the pattern. He knows all that stuff. He's got an incredible memory, and he is a super smart boy. And he's homeschooled. And
Well, we always
I
say-
I don't know where he'd be. He still have his intelligence, but I don't know where he'd be if he was going to public school. I'm glad he's
Gangbanger?
not. I'm just glad he's
I'm
not.
very happy
subject.
that you're teaching him
Yeah.
on your own.
Yeah, it's good.
Because that's what I would do if I was
Yeah.
to have a child.
And you're
I would-
forced
I
to
would,
follow that prerequisite that the state requires you do these certain guides. And
You know what? New Hampshire is a very good state for homeschoolers.
Okay.
And you basically say, yeah, we're homeschooling them. They say, okay.
then you got to teach them. You got to have a test every year to.
There's a periodic testing that as he gets further along, he'll have to
Show
do
that
more
he's-
of that. But we can administer the test ourselves, and we don't even need to show the results. We just got to
No
say,
proctoring or anything. Okay.
we can get a proctor if we want. These things are available, but we don't have to.
Uh-huh.
Now, my wife is much more knowledgeable about it. But basically, we say, yeah, we administered the test. That's all you got to do. You don't need to show the results. You just need to say it. So
The
New
child
Hampshire
talks
is a
himself.
state that favors it. I think it'd be good if, I like a voucher system. I know there's vouchers
You don't
program
get
running
paid
through.
for that.
What's that?
Do you get paid to teach your son?
No.
So
We're paying for public school in our taxes.
not
We're
benefiting
paying,
from it.
but we're not benefiting.
there's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah, there is. So I think that needs to be fixed nationally. I think that I talked a moment ago about there being no competition. If the public school had to compete to get that voucher, they would
They could
perform
be out
better.
of business.
Right. But
Shut
if they
those
had to
doors.
compete to get the voucher, for the family to give it to the public school, because the family had the voucher, they could give it to private school, give it to charter school, give it to home school, give it to public school. If they had that ability, then that money would go where there's the best performance.
Right.
And I think that would require that the public schools have to begin competing. And if they had to compete, and I'm telling you, they don't compete. They're isolated, insulated. They are kept
That sounds like a
from
bad
having to
formula.
compete. And that's a problem.
That's like a bad formula because it only makes sense that the child. That's the old saying is it's an empty vessel until you fill it with what you want it to be filled with.
Right.
And then now we have these individuals that run around so entitled because of what was filled in their heads.
Right.
It's going to take a generation or two to empty.
But that education system is entitled.
Correct.
So a system that is not competitive, not asked to be competitive can never teach that child how to live in a competitive world.
That's right.
It's not going to happen.
never
They're going to
experienced
teach
it.
that child how to live entitled in an
Narrow.
entitled world, because the MO of that public education is we are a system, we're entitled.
Bureaucracy.
And so that's part of the problem. So there's no competition,
State
no incentive
versus
to do
federal.
better.
Put it back in the state's lap. Life would be good. Have a general test. That way, on the East Coast, West Coast, Central, they all follow the same understanding, but yet Johnny knows that man walked to the moon. Without a shadow of a doubt. We know World War II never let that happen again, but we keep repeating our same mistakes. Checkbook, insurance, life, blah, 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 blah. Everything has to be done, logic and common sense.
Yes. So we'll see what happens with all that. But I think that those should continue to work. I think that they got to work. There's a lot of money on the table at Department of Education. We should be able to improve. We could improve our education. And I think we can also spend a lot less money in the process. I want to see it improve. For all those kids who, there are kids I know whose both parents work, they can't homeschool. Correct. They might prefer to, but they cannot. And it's not that they cannot send them to private school. They cannot homeschool because they don't have that option. We have that option. We're fortunate with that. Let's jump to another topic here real quick. Some more of the things that Trump is doing. Gaza.
Oh, yeah, Gaza.
The Hilton's going up.
The Hilton's going up. Trump Resort.
The Hilton's going up. As soon as they can clean up the
I've seen
ocean line there.
Some of the video and the photographs that are coming out of Gaza. The destruction. It's unbelievable.
You can't rebuild.
It's just rubble.
It's just rubble.
Pushed to the sea.
But no one should go back. I think that it's very telling that Egypt and Jordan don't want to take any of these.
Wow. That's sad, too.
It is sad. It's really sad. But that's where they should go. Let them go to Egypt and Jordan, and then take it over and rebuild it. And I think that in the years past, whenever they attacked Israel and Israel won, Israel gained more land.
Yes,
and frankly, I think that
71.
Israel should gain Gaza.
Didn't Jordan just what's it, Prime Minister, King of Jordan?
He was here.
He was just here?
Yep.
He said he'd take 2,000
refugees.
2,000
children.
refugees. Children.
He wanted to take the orphans.
The sick children.
And I think he's still doing
Which
it.
is, is he going to
hold
with that?
He's going to do it. Yeah.
2,000?
He's taking
Just 2,000 with 2-point-something million people.
2,000.
It's pretty small.
But
It's not a whole.
He's got to take them all, because
got a
I think
big desert out
and
there.
Hamas has to be gone. Everyone who's right about that. I think
Caliphate.
Netanyahu, Trump,
Even the
Rubio,
UN has said.
they're all saying Hamas needs to
That
be done. And
representation
I think we
has
got
to
to do something about Iran too. I think Israel will probably do something
Well,
about Iran,
Iran-
because Iran is controlling these people.
Once they prove they have a nuke capability, that's going to be the end of Iran. I'm serious.
Yeah.
They know where everything's at. There's intelligence in that country. There's where the nukes are being tested or researched. Here's the providers of special materials. We know it all. It's just we need to go ahead from Uncle Love Me and the UN before we go and annihilate that part of the planet permanently. Because when you take out that facility that's got that visible material, it ain't coming back for thousands of decades.
Well, we don't want that. We don't want there to be.
Stop it through the.
I think there needs to be
talking
stopped
process.
ahead of that time.
And they just show them a video. All you got to do is show them Nagasaki, Hiroshima, the destruction it caused, and the radioactivity that was left behind.
Well, we don't want to go to nuclear war, but I think that Iran wants to have that as a threat, and they don't let themselves get attacked.
But they can always import it.
They pull the strings with Hamas and with Hezbollah and all these other folks, and I think that
puppet masters.
It's got to be done, and I think that's what October 7th. That's the resolve that Israel has taken on
that's
to just end
9/11.
this and not have this anymore. We cannot continue to live with the idea that another October 7th can happen any day. Any day. How about Ukraine and Russia?
The
Sounds
war's
like
over.
It's going to be over by the end of the month.
War's
You
over.
think so?
The end
It'll
of the
be
month.
left alone.
By the end of the month.
Borders have been redrawn.
They're going to have an easement to the Black Sea.
Who's going to have an easement?
Russia.
So you think that
They'll
Ukraine
keep
is still
Crimea.
going to be Ukraine? The borders,
Yes,
Yeah.
they're going to change.
unchanged.
They're going to change the border, but Russia is going to be able to get to the
Russia's
Black
speaking
Sea,
Russian, Ukraine
and there's
speaking-
people on the eastern side, the eastern bloc there,
Russia.
that are already sympathetic to Russia. They already were.
They've already
So
been.
they're going to go, and I think my dad called it years ago. He says they're just going to make an easement to the Black Sea, and they're going to be able to do their trade that way. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think by the end of the month, the war will be over.
Well, we'll see. We'll come back next time and we'll
Yeah.
see where we're at with
We'll
that.
see.
Yeah.
Guys, we're out of
Listen.
time again. It goes super fast.
It does,
Pretty
yeah.
much out of time. So thanks for coming in. We'll do this again. And we'll see where we're at in a couple more weeks. Because as we move into this
Stay
administration,
tuned for more.
Trump, Rev 2.
Full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead.
Come back
Who
as
knows
long as
what
you
the
want
world's
us.
going to look like in 2 weeks when we're back. Thanks for coming in. Folks, I want to thank you, too, for tuning in. I'm David Schoneman. You're watching Perspectives. I'm here with Dave Narkunas and Greg Faith. We're talking about what's going on in the world, and it's in a breakneck pace, really, in this new Trump administration. Hope you're enjoying the ride and hope you're enjoying the show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye now.